Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy Rob One, and this is Sparking Conversation. And y'all know what I do each and every week. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people. But tonight, not so much, right? Tonight, I did have a webinar that I had set up. I was promoting for a while. I was going to have the marketing Jedi come on and do a webinar with those in business who wanted to learn more about how to move themselves across social media in a certain way where they can actually gain something from it. But I decided not to do that this week. I wanted to give some space and breathe a little bit, right? And bring that webinar back in August because I want to make sure that I, get everything out the right way and have time to market and promote it. But tonight we're going to get into a lot of things, right? I've been not being able to really get into things I've been wanting to say about our current events because of, having guests and stuff like that. Time is limited on how you like to proceed whenever you're doing a show, and you got to be considerate of other people's time. So today is just going to be me, but for those of you that are listening and those of you that are watching, just engage, you know what I'm saying? Get in the comments because I want to know what you guys think about a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today, right? But before that, let's just get into this. I have to give a special shout out to all the people who download the audio version of this platform. Thank y'all so much. I say that to y'all each and every week for that reason, because I understand that the podcast game is about the audio. And the fact that you guys out there really want to listen to what's going on out here, what we're talking about on this platform, and between me and my guests, or even when it's just me, man, I'm so thankful for that, right? Because, like I said, we get caught up in viral moments and get caught up in being seen. And a lot of times the value is in when people listen. Even for us, when we listen, we give value for other people who give value. And at the same time, it's something when people want to hear what you got to say. It's not so much about what they see. So thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for real. Work and continue to keep growing, man, and I'm gonna continue to keep pushing the envelope when it comes to this platform. I'm gonna continue to keep having stories on there, real stories from real people, and I'm gonna continue to keep building, man. So thank y'all all, man. I appreciate y'all for real. At Combo Corner, I know so many people have been asking me about Combo Corner and what is that, and if they could get on it and stuff like that. Well, Combo Corner is what I've been doing is on my rides to whatever this platform thing is, I've been privileged to be able to speak to some celebrities, right? And some people who have passed the torch on to other people. The one thing about it is that when it comes down to Combo Corner and the people that I have on there, they're all people that are in the industry of some sort, right? Movie producers, filmmakers, actors, coaches in acting, also documentarians and people who just have their foot in the business, and a lot of people who want to get in the business. So I'm able to get information and pull inspiration from them for people who have been through a whole lot more when it comes down to this platform game, right? So I appreciate that opportunity, but that's what Combo Corner is about for those that ask. So let's get into a few things real quick. Let's do this. Let's share the live, right? Because I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting to do that whenever I'm on because, I'm too busy in it. And so that's why sometimes I'll be like, yo, I miss having a co-host, right? Because at that particular point in time, I think it'll work, right? Like for me to find somebody who has the same energy and really want to not just be in the front, but want to actually help with everything that goes on in building it. So I'm considering it, right? I know I've had co-hosts on in the past, and it was cool. It was mostly people that I knew Of course, you want to have somebody on that you know, so you guys can have some type of chemistry, right? But I also know that when it comes down to this whole platform game and having people on that really care about what you're doing and not so much just wanting to just be a part of some shit, but really care about it. So I'm open, man. I think I'm gonna start figuring it out so I could get a co-host, and even for shows like this when I don't have guests, because a lot of times so much stuff go on where it's like I want to give the guests the opportunity, but I also want to touch on things that are going on because I feel like information is key, and that's one thing that we get keep kept from us. So, without that, before I get into the show, let me go ahead and get these things out the way. We don't wait, we create, y'all. Y'all know the vibes. I always been telling y'all, man, that this is going to be that networking event. If you are in the industry of any, I'm talking about if you're a podcaster, if you're an actor, if you're an actress, if you're a filmmaker, if you're a script writer, if you are a model, if you're a clothing line, if you're an artist, you need to be in the building this day, Saturday, August 22nd. Go ahead and get your tickets. It's a $25 ticket. It's not a lot for you to meet these people in order for you to move your career to the next level, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're having these type of guests that are going to be there, that'll be willing to chop it up and give you guys the information that you could possibly use to move forward, right? That's what we're doing. And I hope that all of you guys are taking that into consideration, that this is not just a regular networking event. This is not a cash and grab. This is not just y'all come and this is what we're going to do. We're just going to have it where, y'all just come for the one day and it's no, it's stuff that real connections can be made at this event, right? Real connections. I know me personally, I'm always looking for actors and actresses to join the cast and that really want to put in the work and who's not afraid to take the direction that we need for us to grow our own public pages as well as being able to grow the content, because it's a group effort. So many people are looking at people that are popping right now when it comes to content, and they forget that it took a group of people. It took more than just that person to get things popping. It looked like it's not, but it did. It took these people actually putting in the work to get things popping, whether it was a streamer, whether it's other people who do skits, or even if it's this podcast game. Remember, depending on what you talk about, it determines how fast your podcast can go unless people support it, unless people help. That's why y'all see this QR code wherever y'all see it at up on my screen. That's for anybody who wants to donate. If you want to support the platform, if you feel like this is a platform of value, then you can scan that QR code right there. You can donate whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? As little as $1, $2, $3. I don't care. But anything that goes to show that you appreciate the platform because of the information. Most of the guests that I have on are people who go through things, right? And then there are people that I have on who have businesses in the whole nine. So, it's a lot of information being given out on this platform. So, like I said, we don't wait, we create August 22nd. Y'all be in the building, all right? Let's do this. Let's talk about your health a little bit. Y'all know health is wealth, and we've been talking about it for a while. But here's the thing, yo. Y'all know that new parasite that's going on, plastosis hominis, right? And it's being transmitted in fruits and vegetables and other type of things. And people are having explosive diarrhea and these different things. Now, I talk to you guys about parasites in the body a lot, and I talk to you guys about detox because you have to be prepared, because this is not something new. It's just something that they're going to use to attack us. Because have y'all not noticed that so many people have been going to the doctors and different things like that? Them copays have been up. They know how to get you guys back in the door in order for you guys to spend money. They understand that this is a business. I want y'all to know the healthcare field is a business. It's not set up to cure nobody. It's not set up to help you in any kind of way, but get temporary relief for whatever you're dealing with. But in order for you to keep spending your money, that's the vibe. There is a business. It is a for-profit business as well. So the sooner that people can understand that this attacks and all these things they put in the food and in the water, it's done on purpose. But there are ways that you can help yourself. That's why I said, do the research about parasites in the body, because now with this new one that's out, you guys are seeing the full effects of what an extra parasite can do to your body, right? Because if you can't keep nothing down, what does that do? That keeps you dehydrated, especially if you're out here with diarrhea and all these other things. That's going to keep you dehydrated. You can't drink enough water, right? We know that sodium salt water is how we get our electrolytes back and stuff like that. But they've been telling people for the longest that, too much sodium causes high blood pressure and all these other things. But that's not necessarily the case, because if so, why is the first thing they hook you up to is a saline bag whenever you go to the hospital? Ain't that salt water? Why? Right? So I'm just saying, like, any event that you guys really, really are out there and wanting to know how to take control of your health, I want y'all to click the link in the description, right? Click the link in the description, get the information, do the research, but know that there is something out there that can help you. The Parasite Detox, we have it, get it, and it's a bunch of other products you guys can get when you click the link and go ahead and take control of your health. Another thing is too, y'all know they got the toxins and heavy metals. We want to get those out of the body as well too, right? Because once you kill these parasites off, you got to use things to help get them out and flush them out your system. You have a bunch of dead things inside of you until they come out, but you want to gather it and bind them all up and make sure that they come out collectively together. Because with the Parasite Detox, it doesn't just kill the adults, it kills the eggs as well too. Now remember, the eggs that these parasites lay in your body, they stay dormant until the adult dies, and then they hatch because of the sharing of whatever they're taking from your body. So remember that, y'all. Get the detox. Don't wait until you're on the toilet, bent over, or sleep on your bathroom floor because you can't move but so far, because you got to keep getting up and blowing it up. So take control of your stuff now, right? Don't wait. All right, with that being said, y'all know we got new content each and every week that's dropping. We have the new tarot reader going wrong that just dropped. Part 14 just dropped today. It's pinned to my timeline for those of y'all that are following me on Facebook. On YouTube, Team Collective TV, all one word. You can go there and you can find it. It'll be there as well. I am saying to y'all, thank you to all the people that push play on the content. We really appreciate y'all, because y'all are helping it move around no matter what. And that's why I love it. Doesn't matter if it gets 1, 2 views, 3 views, as long as people are watching it, as long as people, and then I'm getting comments from those of y'all that are responding to the clips that I've been putting up about Kill No One Part 2, saying that you missed that, where is that? And people have been going back to watch it. So thank y'all for that too. I appreciate y'all. And I understand the power of marketing. Right? You can't just put something out one time and expect it to go around and everybody catch it. No, you got to continuously believe in your work and keep pushing it. That way you can get the traction you need, and you can find your audience. Your audience has got so many other things in front of them, right? People are dealing with so much in life that on their phones and in front of them, sometimes you got to go out there. You got to keep putting yourself out there so you can find that audience, so the audience can find you, basically. So you got to be there. Right? That's the one thing I talk about all the time. There's a whole bunch of people that say they are something and this is what they do, but then when you go to their timeline and you don't hardly see that thing. Acting, or you're an artist, or if you're a painter, whatever it is, just like when they go to your timeline, they should see that more than they see anything else, right? Because that's what it's about. Like you want to express your gift and your talent, and social media has allowed a platform for people to be expressive in that way. Not so much always in somebody else's business, but you know how that goes. People are gonna do that anyway. But thank y'all. All right, so let's get into the show real quick. And I want all of y'all that's watching, just jump in the comments, man, if y'all feel anything, or if you have something to say about what we're talking about. Because what I want to talk about is all the things that's going on in the news right now that is affecting our community. And I want to make sure that we keep having these conversations about our community, because there's nobody coming to save us, right? And we understand that even those that look like me in our community don't want to grow and want to do better either. So the goal is not to change everybody. The goal is a smart conversation. That's the name of this platform, and this is what I did it for. So I want to get y'all opinion on things, right? Because we just had Nolan Wells' funeral that just happened the other day, right? And he was laid to rest. So that lets all of us know that the autopsy has completely been done. They haven't released it yet for whatever reason. We don't know, right? But the autopsy has not been fully released for everyone to know exactly what was the cause of his death, which is the mystery that everybody is kind of waiting on, right? It's a lot of commentary going out there and speculation about different things that happened in Norman, right? There are new testimonies coming out from different people that were there who, in the beginning, they wasn't saying nothing, but now they are. And I have the same thought process that I had about it in the beginning, right? That this is ultimately the setup for a race war. And I'm not saying it in a way to say that we got to overlook what happened to Nolan, the fact that he was a black guy who had white friends and he came back unalive some type of way, right? Um, because the world is not so black and white as they're continuously trying to make it. It's not that. You guys got to realize there are a lot of blended families out here. There are a lot of families out here that are mixed with white and black, that understand that, y'all, that have that whole type of family dynamic where they understand the past of black and white people, but they also understand the future of how to progress and move forward and to live life in a more harmonious way, where we can understand the past, but then do what we got to do to correct it in the future. But somewhere along the line, the powers that be, that's not part of their plan. And for me, that's what I'm getting out of this because, to take so long with the autopsy, first of all, they came back with a report in the beginning, which was too quick, saying that it was a drowning. So if the coroner down in Mississippi or whoever the person was that did the medical examiner in Mississippi came up with the information saying, yo, it was an accidental drowning. And so how come now, whenever everybody does their autopsy report, now it's a mystery. We gotta wait, right? And that's the thing that makes all of it seem so kind of off when it comes down to everything, right? It's because like all the people are being used to work together. Anytime Al Sharpton comes out, and I'm not, there's going to be a whole lot of Black history, Democratic people who are not going to like what I'm getting ready to say, but that's not the point. The point is to spark the conversation because look, anytime Al Sharpton comes out, it's something that is made national history news. That's it. He only come out for things that'll keep him in the spotlight, where cameras are going to be there. That's when he show up. There's so much stuff that go on in certain communities that can use the presence of Al Sharpton in order to get things moved that he will never show up on. Why? Because there's not enough cameras in there for him to be seen and for him to continuously be that person that people are looking at to be up front, especially when it comes to people who are sided with political parties like the Democratic Party, right? Ben Crump. We also know that Ben Crump is a high profile attorney. So when he comes out, it's pretty much the same vibe. It's the cameras are out. That's where he come out because there's so many different things. But he's only one person, right? But we understand that he has a whole team of lawyers and he has a whole lot going on. So it don't just necessarily have to be him personally, but we know him personally. There's so many different cases. Had he been in the, visually in that particular, it would have drawn more eyes and more ears onto what was going on to certain people, but we understand that that don't happen. They had the funeral, and at the funeral, they're putting up rewards. So if they're putting up rewards for information for people to come forth that leads to a conviction or no, an arrest and a conviction, then that means that these people know what the autopsy report is, right? They know the details of the autopsy report they can't say or they're not saying. If they're knowing that they're putting up money for it to continuous, like they say that for anybody to come up with some information that leads to an arrest and a conviction. All right, so 50,000 is what he put up, right? Now, this is the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Why use this as a stage? That's why I'm telling you about the cameras, right? Because if the reward is to be put out about that, then it's only going to lead to speculation of people saying that something was done wrong to him outside of whatever the reports were. We all get that, right? There's none of us that are looking at this case and checking out the details that's been put out and saying to ourselves, yeah, he just drowned. We know that something bad happened to him. It was a cover up. We know all of these things, right? Just based off of the evidence that we've been given and certain details that's been out, right? We know. And I think that's the thing, right? Is that they leak a certain amount to invoke emotion because of the emotion that it invokes when it comes down to that. Because there are so many people on comment, especially on me when I first reported about Nolan Wells and the TikTok. There's so many people that came on there that wanted to come at me talking about why you not talking about your own people doing harm to each other on that same weekend. And I'm trying to help them understand is because whatever's going on in local news, because I'm not in your area to know that these things go on. We understand the difference between local news and national news. This case right here made national news, not just local news in Mississippi. Had it just been something like that and it just stayed in Mississippi, then we probably wouldn't have known about it in other states because there's something that goes on in every state, yo. It's not just your state or whatever. It's something that go on major in those, but it ain't enough, right? It's not what they need. They don't want it to go national for a reason. The powers that be are got this case out there and making it national for a certain reason is to invoke a certain type of emotion. They want white and black people out here fighting each other in the middle of the street, actually bringing it to violence against each other. That's what they want. They had a guy who came out, a white guy, right in the South. He came out and he had this whole video where he was ranting about, yeah, this is what we do to y'all young black men. Yeah, we get them out there, we befriend them, and we don't really mean it. We put them out in situations where they got to fend for themselves and fend for their life, and we watch and we laugh. We take them out to the swamp. We do all these things. Now he got up there and he did all that. They're not even 2, 3 days later, once people figured out who he was and certain influence started grabbing his videos and sharing it, and people been commenting and it started getting traction. This man had lost his job. He got dots. He can't stay where he lived at no more. He gotta get, and these are the things that we trying to tell y'all. Like, yo, listen, if you're going to feed into the stereotype, if you're going to feed into the narrative of what the powers that be want, because just imagine this, Sean, I'm telling you, they keep talking about the sleeper cells that are over here from other countries, right? And then they breaking down to all the different states who give money to Israel and all these other things that are going on. They talking about Netanyahu, how he's out here doing whatever he wants to, regardless of what Trump is talking about. And then they got the stuff going on with Iran and they bombing in the Straits of Hormuz. And I know some of y'all are like, how are you tying the two? It's because the bigger picture is right there in front of us. How else can they enact a certain type of laws and things that they want to do unless they could get civil unrest? They need it to be where it seems like the public is agreeing with what's going on. Right? They talk about the Straits of Hormuz and they blowing it up. They talking about Iran don't want to let the oil and all that other stuff going on when they're out here marketing, promoting, turning plastics into plasticine into gas where they can use it and it's working. It actually works in all vehicles, even high performance vehicles. It's working by using plastic. When all they got to do is clean up the water and clean up all these other places or let people recycle the plastics because everything is in plastic, right? Right? And they can short. They don't need to be worried about bringing the gas over. We got our own oil and stuff that is here. So what's with all the oil reserves and everything that's already here? Why is gas $1,000 a gallon just because of what's going on in Iran? And some people will jump on in the comments and say something like, "But Rob, that has nothing to do with what you're talking about when it comes to Nolan Wells and anything else. When it has everything to do with it, because if they're going to allow this type of emotion to be invoked, just like when it come down to what happened with all of those protests that were going on when it came down to the transgender thing that was go DEI and all that. Y'all remember all of those riots and fights and all these things that broke out when it came down to that, and then now they're able to put certain laws in place so where people can't gather like that, where eventually you're not going to be able to do peaceful protesting and stuff like that or protesting at all because of them using sleeper cells to go out there and disrupt things. It's just like when you own a black business, right? You be thinking that your business is going to thrive when people are saying, hey, we're going to pay this guy to go over there and do some disturbance, cause trouble at your event. So that way people won't want to come to your stuff and come to your business and all that other stuff. They get arrested by the police and then get dropped off 5 blocks around the corner saying, good job, and they get handed an envelope. And I'm telling y'all that because when Doge first came in the building, at the first beginning of this administration, when they found out that the three-letter agencies that paid out 1.5 billion in informants, and I'm talking about $1 billion in informants. Like, do y'all know like how much money? Because the average informant, if you kind of think about it, what they getting, 100, 200, 300, $500? No. If they got up to the billions, that means that the people that was really telling are so high up in whatever is going on. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The same thing that's going on with Nolan Wells. These people that are high up, they have a plan. And they're using you and your emotions. When they say vampires are not real, I'm telling y'all they are. Energy vampires are real. They use your energy, right, to siphon from you in order to control you. They use it against you. So while you think they're helping you, they're not. And people with certain skin colors, whether you think Caucasian, brown people, black people, and all these other things, you think that they're not going to use people that look like you in order to make it to seal the deal? They're going to. They're going to, because look, in the whole Nolan Wells situation, they keep breaking it down that his dad is a Freemason. That this is just allegedly, right? That this could be a conspiracy where it's a sacrifice, right? Because of the degree that this dad is trying to get to. I don't believe that, right? But it's not my place to believe or disbelieve. It's not about what I believe or what's not. It's a fact of the matter is that yes, throughout life, people have been subject to different type of ritualistic situations that go on out here. They have been. That's the saddest part about it. People are blind to those things because they don't believe that it's real. They don't believe, except for the people that are in it. The people that are in it, they know it's real. But for everybody else, it seemed like a conspiracy theory, right? That somebody would sacrifice their own loved one in order to get higher in a certain place. But when a person is certainly brainwashed, or when a person has certain thoughts in their head, y'all, that they think that that's the way, they'll do anything. Because if that was the case, there would be no such thing as a cult. None. Y'all know some of the cults from the past that had people kill themselves. One remember the cult that was talking about a UFO was coming to take them all away, but they had to be dead. Like, how a real physical UFO gonna come and take you away, but you have to be dead for them to take you? It's like, then that means that's the spirit. Like, what? But people fell for it enough to believe it to the point where they did that. So what makes y'all think that people are not being provoked in order to do certain things? We're sitting up here talking about this Nolan Wells case and these young kids, and they should be brought to justice and all that other stuff. And then we're gonna find out that they're gonna be told that they are, and ain't gonna wind up in nobody prison, right? Especially if they're doing the bidding of who is telling them what to do. This is part of it. The ritual and the song and dance is to make it look like for everybody else, oh man, here it go, white people, black people, this, that, let's go. Everybody in the street, let's fight, let's kill each other. And then in that sense, they say, all right, y'all bet. All right, bet. Now we got this. Put this in the books. Sign this in the order. How now we got this on their eyes. So now we can control this. And so many people don't see it from that angle. It's sad that little man is not here. What's going to be sadder is if we find out, well, if we ever find out the real truth about what's going on with him or what happened to him, it's going to have even more people jumping out the window. It's going to have even more people looking at each other in a certain way. And in these certain places and states, you're just going to find there's going to be pockets of so many different type of racist things. And then what's going to happen is that those same people who let all those people in the last administration, the same people who are saying that, yo, America keep doing this to these people out here. They got people over here just waiting on the word to do some foul shit in order to turn. And that's what's going to happen, right? Because in the midst of it being a black and white thing, them people that they got over here chilling, waiting on the word, is going to use that as a cover in order to do some other shit somewhere else. So what it's going to do is going to put y'all attention over here. This is going to happen over here. It's going to be bigger than what we fighting over. And then in the midst, it's going to be so many lives that's going to be lost. And then if there is a certain downfall that happens with America, the country is going to be so divided that they know that if it was to happen, that people are not going to work together and come together anyway. They still going to fall for whatever the new thing that's going to come out of the rubble. because there's going to be some new shit that come out of whatever they're expecting to happen for it to be a mass casualty event. It's going to be something that comes out the rubble. It's just like what happened in 9/11, right? It's so many different reports of that. It wasn't a terrorist act. It was just a bunch of actors and doing these different things that caused them to knock down the towers and kill their own people to go to war, right? And I'm saying the same people who would sacrifice. I don't know what makes y'all think that they won't sacrifice us. Like we think that the Democrats and Republicans are separate. Like for some reason, we still think that they're not on the same team. We still think that they don't argue in public and then eat together in private. We still think that, and I don't know why. Because everything around us said the same thing. What man wants another man in women's sports? It shouldn't matter what side of the fence you on. Like what is even possesses that to go on unless you're not a part of it. It can't be things that people are not doing together if they're not working together. And I'm sorry, y'all, if y'all don't feel the same way, that's cool. But at the end of the day, I'm telling y'all, whatever is considered a white supremacist, you are not on the team. I promise you. You are being used as a puppet, right? Just like us on our end. Whenever it come down to us and we looking at, like I said, these high profile cases that happen and these certain people who only come out when it's high profile cases, when the cameras are plenty and the cameras are everywhere. When those people come out, then we know that in the background, wait, something ain't right with this picture. Because these groups of people should be about that, the people regardless. It shouldn't be just because of this case. Like, let's talk about it because there have been so many people that have been coming up hanging from different trees, right? A couple of cases. Let me pull this up real quick because I want to make sure that I don't not say their name. All right, so in Illinois, right? So this was just on the 29th of June, so it's a little while ago. But this is just what I wanted to bring up is because there was a Electric Forest Festival that happened, right? And it was a young man who went out with his friends who didn't come back with his friends, who wound up being found hung in the woods in a tree by authorities, right? But the same thing like Nolan Wells, his friends, they had his phone, they had all these different information. They told everybody that he was having a mental breakdown. He called the police because he was trying to kill himself. Come to find out that the family, they all came out and was like, no, man, not at all. He wasn't like that. This wasn't his vibe. He had this going on. He had that going on. He had all these things going on. And we know that. It don't matter how much you got going on. Like you can still have mental situations going on that you don't tell people. Right? Everybody don't tell people everything that they got going on, right? Especially when it comes to your family. People that tell their friends and strangers more intimate details about themselves than they would their own family in the fear of judgment, right? So we not going to say that he might not have nothing going on, but the fact of the matter is how he get up there to hang himself from a tree is what we talking about, right? They didn't find no chair under his feet, no stool, and all these other things. And then why that method? If you want to do something to yourself, why would you go out hanging yourself? Like it just don't make sense, y'all. And as much as people are going to try to make it out to be, yeah, he had mental disorders because they said that about every single person so far that they found hanging from a tree, that they had mental disorders. But they were smart enough to figure out how to hang themselves if they got mental disorders, right? And there's another guy. His name was Justice Kai James, right? And he was in Albany, Georgia, and they found him hanging from a tree, and he was in Job Corps. And I just wanted to say their names, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about all these different things that go on. And for nothing less, the people who were trying to be funny on TikTok and was sending me screenshots of the victims of other people like that look like us, right? Black people, brown people, whatever you want to call us, and what they did on the 4th of July weekend and how they hurt each other and how they was doing all these fights. Like everywhere you looked up, it was so many different videos of 4th of July gatherings where black people were fighting each other, hurting each other, arguing, just being just really disruptive and angry at each other. Then we have this whole thing with the guy at the football, little league football coach getting into a fight with one of the dad. Like this is and I'm just trying to figure this out, right? Because even in Miami and all these other places where you're supposed to be going to enjoy the area, the atmosphere, to relief from wherever you've been, wherever you're from, you're supposed to be coming there with the joy in your life to relax and enjoy yourself on vacation. Y'all guys go to different places and y'all fighting and y'all arguing and y'all killing each other. And people still think that people are not affected by frequencies, right? People still think they're not affected by parasites or they're not affected by different things that are in the water and in the air that causes people to just feel violent everywhere they go. Even in places where it's beautiful and you're supposed to be able to take in just what you're seeing and the atmosphere and the energy, it still brings you to a place of violence. This is uncalled for energy from a lot of different people, but this is the energy that they're going to use in order to put certain things in place to control you from another way, right? Because so many people are not are missing the point when it comes to that. That these things that are going on out here, whether it's the Nolan Wells, whether it's the hanging, whether it's even the stuff that went on with Big Tigger, you know how many people in the black and brown community were divided over a cell phone incident, right? And just men and women, they know that we are so separated out here, y'all, that these things are just little tactics that they use to say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make them join together so we can hurt them together." Because right now they separate anyway. Because so many women were up here screaming and hollering about he should have just let her have the phone, and it wasn't her phone. So that just goes to show you just how women are like when it comes down to this whole girl code or women supposed to be for women type things and all this other shit. When it comes down to their emotions, they'll agree with anything that comes along with a woman besides the fact of what's right or wrong. Because there was so many women divided in this in the comments when it came to Big Tigger about something that was not hers. It wasn't her property, period. And then was had the nerve to come around and say, yeah, because that's why if it was her phone, he better have gave it to her because men shouldn't be doing this to women. It's all of these certain type of standards and mindset that is going on out here. That's why relationships are not the way it's supposed to be in our community because people are finding different ways to just be against each other for no reason. Like logic is completely out the window. Common sense is completely out the window. People are just so wrapped up in how they feel. That's it. They don't even think about it. They just feel it. And because they feel it, they think it's right. There's so many people walking around thinking that their feelings make them right, and they're not. And life is going to teach you that lesson because the energy you put out is the energy that you get back. People call it karma, right? But the law of the universe is based on what you put out there. That's just it. Whatever your energy is, whatever your thoughts are, whatever the thing is, especially when God sends you something. So many people have been given a certain type of task, and in that task, they don't figure it out until it's too late of what they're supposed to learn by certain relationships that they have, right? And what I want to say is that even when it comes down to the cases that we're dealing with nationally or anything that's going on in our community, listen, the energy that we put out is the energy that we're going to get back. I'm sorry, y'all. There's nothing about that that's ever going to change. It's going to continue to be that. If you want better, you're going to do better. It's not upon other people to make you feel like this is something that you want to live. And in this life, we're not supposed to be sitting around here always in the low vibration and always angry and always in some type of discord. Like, it's so many people that find more things wrong than they find right. It could be 1,000 things right, two things that are wrong, and they dwell on them. It's just the weirdest thing to be around that energy. And some people don't understand how your peace is everything. Your peace is worth everything. You don't want to be walking around here arguing with people and be in the funk because they in the funk because of how they think and how they feel. You don't want that. And at some point in your life, you got to pick and choose because once you start to lose yourself, then I don't know how you are supposed to live outside of being who you are. And if you're surrounded by people who can't accept you for who you are, then the only thing that you can do is change who you're around. That's it. It's not up to them to change. They're not going to change. They're going to continue to be who they are. So what you got to do, you got to continue to be you. And in being you, you got to pick you. You have to, because how else are you going to be? How else are you going to be able to, you know, how else are you going to be able to do that, right? How else are you going to be able to be a person that can accept the things that happen in your life without you being able to be accountable? Like you got to be accountable to your own life. You got to have accountability. It's not other people's fault why you live the way you live. It's only up to you to change it, right? And that's the same thing I'm saying about all these things that we have going on out here, y'all. The people are against us, right? And it don't matter what color you are. The powers that be and the people that are in charge, they are against you. They're not for you. AI is being created for them because they think that that's going to help them save money and keep more of a profit. But the profit that they're saying they're going to keep is not having to pay you. Now, what does that mean? That means that they're looking at coming up with some type of universal income. Why? Because what are the goods and services if there's nobody to pay for it? If there's no people with jobs, then what good is the goods and services that they put out there? What good is it having a grocery store full of groceries if nobody can't buy them? Have y'all thought about that? Have y'all thought about the fact that they're going to take your job and then give you an allowance in order for you to go out there and buy the products that they're putting out there? And overall, like they're only going to be paying themselves, right? There will still be no profit. But what's going to happen is they're going to control all the resources, right? So if they control all the resources, then that means that you're going to have to do whatever they tell you for the resources, for the water, for the food, for whatever it is that you need to live your life. You're going to have to go through them for that. That's the only thing. They're going to control it to the point where they won't need money. Money won't be an issue for them because they'll have everything. They'll have all the good food. They'll have all the good vegetables and stuff. They'll have all the property and everything else. They'll have everything. So they won't need the money. They'll just be a part of the system that keeps generating everything, which would be robotics, right? They'll come in and they'll do all of your jobs, right? And with that being said, it's just going to keep them from being able to produce more products that people are not going to be able to consume or buy because they won't have no money if they don't have no job. So then they're going to give you all a universal income and then control you through that. If you cross the street wrong, boom, they're going to be taking money out. If you do this, they're going to take money out. If you don't do this, they're going to take money out. Even they're not giving you a choice for nothing. They're going to just be using that as a means to make you do certain things. Why? Because people are not into creation right now. You could create your own. Look, why we can't come up with our own system for water? Why we can't grow our own fruits and vegetables? Like a lot of times it's because people don't own land, right? They don't have no way to grow and all that other stuff. But that's crazy because in New York, I know for me personally, when I'm in New York, especially in Brooklyn, even when you go down some of these people's properties, they got gates around their stuff, right? But they are growing stuff right outside their house, right? They don't have a whole bunch of real estate where they got a bunch of big backyards and all these other things in New York and stuff like that. But when they got their front yards and whatever they have that space, they're growing vegetables, they're growing things, right? So it's really no excuse. You can find ways to do it if that's what you want to do, but it's up to you to figure out how can you detach as much from the system as possible. All y'all on welfare, all y'all complain about the welfare and all these other things, y'all are going to be the main ones that don't have no survival skills. There's so many of y'all women out here. Listen, I'm telling y'all think y'all cute. Y'all think y'all got all these choices with certain people in y'all life. And I'm telling y'all don't. So many people talking about they single by choice and all this other shit. Listen, let me tell y'all something. This stuff is going to turn around. Your degree and however much money you is not going to help you survive. I promise you. So while you're out here, and then the men out here, like I don't know what type of new men y'all gonna have to deal with out here, but for the fact of if you don't know how to heal yourself, if you don't have people in your life that understand how to heal from the inside, right? To help you with disease and help you with all these different elements that could come up. If you don't have people that know that, if you don't have people that know how to do basic stuff like fish and hunt and all that other shit, if you don't have people that are into growing their own foods or people who understand that they might have to go into this type of diet in order for them to survive if they're not into hunting and stuff like that, right? But you got to know something in order for you to have some type of survival skills so you could be out here and be able to maintain in the event that things go left. Because it could easily go left out here in America. Because trust me, all the billionaires and millionaires, they got their bunkers and all their little secret hiding places that they're going to be at whenever the world drops. It's just everybody else out here. Y'all not going to have it. And then y'all going to have to rely on each other, but y'all don't trust each other because the news and everything else has set us up to be against each other. Not even just black and white, but even in our community from men versus women. And women can care less about black men, and black men are too busy out here trying to be women. And if they're not trying to be women, they don't have the mindset or the focus in order to lead. They don't because they too busy depending on women. And then you got those that are out here that are ready to lead, that got the issue, that got everything down pat, but they keep being called names like narcissists and womenizers and all these other things. Because women particularly, they pick a certain energy. I want to say this, man, and I know a lot of people probably won't agree, but then those that have the decency to understand perspectives, they will. There are no men out here picking women, right? There are men out here shooting their shot. There are men that are trying, but ultimately, whatever happens when men and women pick the men in their life. Now, whether they pick a man for a certain reason or not, whether they got their own agenda, is totally something you don't find out until you actually get into it. But the men out here not picking women. So while y'all are out here thinking that everything that come across a man's table when it comes to the opposite sex is all about what he's doing, y'all don't understand that no, it's certain energy and it's certain frequencies that certain women are going to pick up on regardless of who you are. They're going to pick up on that. They're going to be drawn to that energy. Not so much where it's about what a person has. It's only those up here that feel like they have something that think that money or material things is the number one attractor for them. That's the only ones that's going to think that because of whatever they have or wherever they look at themselves as feeling like what they deserve. Because there's a whole bunch of people who saying they know their worth and it's all coming based on monetary. They don't understand that if they know their worth, then they will pick certain people in their life based on standards, not preferences. But that ain't gonna happen, right? Long as people are out here picking people for preferences instead of standards, guess what's gonna happen? When the world drop and the bottom fall, it's gonna be a bunch of people around here wishing that they had somebody they could call that they don't have to go through these things by themselves. That's what it's about. We do everything in the mission of saying that we do it on our own. There's so many people out here that want to be so dependent of saying they can do everything on their own, yo, and you cannot. As much as women could run around here saying I could do it by myself, I don't need no man, I could take care of this, I could pay for this, and all that other shit. No matter what, men have been having to do that their whole lives, and they still can't run around here saying that they don't need y'all. That's crazy, crazy work. But there's a woman right now that's gonna watch this. There's somebody out there that's gonna watch the playback or whatever that really feel and stand on the fact that they don't need you, right? Even when it comes down to your children, like you could be raising a child with a person and they'll come up with some type of way to cut you out, feel like they don't need you. They could raise these kids on their own, and then look at the statistics of what happens, right? Whenever you have a woman who tries to raise a kid on their own, there's some that come out good, right? But that's the personality of the child. The environment of the child shapes the personality of the kid as well too. And there's so many people who are relying on their jobs and different things like that. Like they're not paying attention to the way AI is progressing. Some of y'all thinking that y'all got it locked in that your jobs are going to be here forever, and it's not. Listen, in the next 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of people. Some of y'all that's in the six-figure bracket, y'all won't have no job, yo. They're gonna have a machine doing your job, yo. Period. And I know you don't believe it. I know you don't think it's going to happen to you. I know you don't see the writing on the wall. I know because that's on you, right? But for those of us that have these certain type of gifts and things like that that we stand on, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be right in the middle of everything else. Why? Because people are gonna keep them phones if they don't do nothing else. All right, so let's get into some comments because my boy Cam has been on. Double salute to you, Cam, for real. Let's see what you said. The white supremacists always on code on protecting their own people. That is a fact. right? And this is the thing that goes on when it comes down to that particular thing when it says white supremacists, right? And all the people who like to control, like to gather in based on their skin color, because for some reason, like I said, they think that they're on the team. They're not. They're going to be used. They're being used as pawns, just like everybody else. Remember, whenever your boy that's in office right now said that if he was going to run and for any type of political office, especially the presidency, that he would go Republican because of the mindset of the Republican. He said that. He said because they're not smart people. He can easily control them through their emotions. And he's been able to do that for the longest, right? Regardless, he's been able to do that, right? He got a whole bunch of people to storm the Capitol, even though he didn't tell them to go do all the shit that they did. He still was able to get them to go up there and do whatever they did, and they all did it. And they all got pardons, and people got money, and all these other things. And the Central Park Five, he was a part of the reason why they got locked up, and they didn't do nothing that they got locked up for, and still there was no great apology or nothing. Because when a person that's a narcissist is wrong, they will never admit that they are wrong. That's the number one sign of a narcissist. They can never apologize, or they can never accept the fact that they're wrong. Narcissists will never come back and admit that they was wrong. They're gonna always find a way to move past it, their admittance of being wrong. That's the number one thing. They keep putting that title on men, but that's not a gender-based thing. That's a personal thing. From no matter if you're a male or a female, you got people in your life that can never apologize for nothing, and if they never wrong, that's a narcissist. That's the definition. They keep saying that a narcissist is a man that hates women, which is weird because we understand that a man don't have to hate women. Because if that's the case, then what are the men out here that's becoming a woman? Do they hate being a man? What does that make them? I don't know. That's weird. Um, both parties have never had any interest for Black American community. Well, not recently, right? We know the history of the Republicans. We know the history of the Democrats. We know that at one point the Republicans was mainly a black party, right? Of rich black people in the South that was able to, maintain and make a lot of money through agriculture, right? We know that's where it started out at, but it completely changed because of integration, right? Everybody wanting to be a part of whatever they thought was right, not knowing that all that stuff was stolen. All that stuff was taken away from you, and you wanted to integrate into a stolen society when all you had to do was continue to create your own and keep building that. Then that society would have had to integrate with us. That's the thing that they missed, because everything that comes out of America that is what is considered hot, big, great, it all comes to us. Look at Michael Jackson, look at Prince, look at LeBron James, look at Michael Jordan, look at all these other people that they gather around. What comes out of our community is what makes the world great, and what makes the United States of America great to the world is what we are doing. We just don't own. We create what we don't own what we create, right? But that's what makes it great. But if we were to continue to keep what was great for us into us and do it based on what if we should have never. Segregation was the best thing that happened to us. I know. It was the best thing that happened to us. It was one of the best times in our lives for all of us. If we would have been that way now, this would have been totally different. It would have been totally different than what we're living in right now. I promise y'all that. Hopefully we could bring back the black excellence back in the media like we used to do in the magazines, Ebony Jet Essence, The Source Vibe back in the day. It take that type of energy though, Cam. You're right. It take that type of energy for people to be able to point out the things that we're doing great in our community, not just what we're doing bad. And that's what we're saying. We're saying that to avoid those things, we got to be more in control of our emotions. As long as people out there behind the scenes are able to control our emotions, then we are going to be in a position of low vibration, and we're not going to think higher in order to go to the other places, right? Because people kept talking about AI taking up all the water. And then come to find out there are certain companies who are buying up other water companies. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, damn, so that means that there are water companies for sale. Why people are not coming together buying their own water company? Since you're worried about AI taking water, then why won't we come up with our own water company? Like, water ain't going nowhere. It doesn't matter how much they buy it up. It doesn't matter what they do. Water ain't going nowhere. I know the rivers have been drying up in certain places. I get it, y'all. I understand that, y'all. Y'all keep saying that. But as long as there are places like Niagara Falls and everything else, then there will never not be no water. right? Because Niagara Falls is not ocean water. That's natural water, right? In other places, it's all over the place, right? It's just the people who got the power that be, they just put things in a small box in a bubble and make your mind think that you're just right there in that small bubble and there's nothing outside of it. That's the weirdest thing. Just like they're saying there's nothing outside of these seven continents. That's crazy because if it was, then people would be able to travel out to Antarctica and pass the ice wall and all these other things. But you can't, right? Because they don't want you to know. And it's the same thing with the water thing. They're going to tell you anything in the news and make you feel like something, but there's no way they can buy up all the water. There's no way that they're going to use it. There's no way. It's just not going to happen. And if there's certain rivers that are dried up, I see that, y'all. We understand that. We seeing that there are things that are happening to certain water sources and stuff like that. But y'all keep forgetting, like, it's not water under the ground. You know how many people in the South got wells? They're not hooked up to city water. It's just so much that we don't know as a group of people, and there's just so much that they keep hidden from us. And the fact that we got smartphones and we don't use them to be smart, because the answers are right there, but people don't ask those questions when it comes down to those type of things. They're too busy in other people's business. But this is what we're gonna do, y'all, because you know my time is winding down. Right? And I appreciate the comments. I appreciate all the comments y'all give me. I appreciate all the people who scan that QR code and they support the platform. I appreciate everybody who's buying tickets to We Don't Wait, We Create. I appreciate everybody who push play on the content that I post every day. But I want all of y'all to know that if we don't get in control of our emotions and understand that when we're being played, we're going to continue to be used by the vampires who are sucking our energy. And I'm telling y'all, it's up to us to be the people who are the vampire hunters or whatever you want to call yourself. I'm not saying you got to go outside with a wooden stake and be ready to stab somebody in the chest. But what I'm saying to you is that you got to be willing to control this mental so you're not giving your energy away to people who are sucking it, then using it against you to put you in a bigger box, right? They want the box to be big. 15-minute cities, y'all. Remember, they're coming up with a certain way to do 15-minute cities where you can't do everything you do, got to be in a 15-minute radius, and you can't go outside of that unless you are privileged. When these people haven't created one piece of land, none of the people that are in charge didn't create not one piece of land, not one tree, not one fish. Like, they didn't create none of this. All this stuff was created by God, yet they are controlling what God has created, and we are allowing it because we just feel like it's just weird. Super weird. Because I keep saying that for all of us that are buying land, and who sold it to them? And then from the first person that had the very first deed to whatever has been sold, who sold it to them? Because whoever sold it to them didn't create it. It's weird, y'all. It's weird. Like, people are just taking like resources and just saying it's theirs and rationing it out to us. And we just going for it. Like, that's the weirdest shit ever. Mentally, man, I don't know where we are, but I know where we could be. And I hope that the rest of y'all that's watching tonight, and I hope all y'all that will watch this playback will at least figure it out that, you know, controlling our thoughts will help control our actions, will help control our future and our outcomes, not allowing other people to control it for us. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here, man, for this week. Next week, I will have the rest of the month, and going into August, I have guests. So this is just me. I wanted to just go on live tonight by myself and just talk to the people and just get the commentary out because of, you know, the way things are. And even me, this helps me with my own mental, right? Because I'll be having so many things inside, and I love having this platform in order to express that. So thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all for watching the playback. Thank y'all for all the support. And I want to see y'all next week right here, man, because we got more information for y'all. We have a great show coming up next week. And I want all of y'all to be a part of everything that's going on. So thank you. And I'm gonna be out, but remember this, y'all. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, y'all.
Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit. We so high. Just me and my chick. Yeah, just me and my chick. Yeah.